We're just driving in trees. And I'm like, what the? So I'm like, hey, Michael, where are we? And he's like, yeah, you're not going home right now. And I'm like, and it's probably 9:30, 10 o'clock. We're not going home right now. And I'm like, what?
All right, so welcome back to the Out of Chaos podcast, a discussion-based podcast where we try to make some sense of the chaotic world that we live in. I have a special guest today. Her name is Serena. She joins me today to discuss some crazy, wild, insightful things, topics. I'll let her introduce herself.
Hey, everyone. My name is Serena. Thanks for having me on today. I'm 24 years old. I live in Toronto. I'm a paralegal student, so that's a lot of fun. I decided to go into paralegal because apparently acting wasn't that great for me. I love to act, but...
You said you wanted to be an actor, right?
I did in high school. Like a legit, like I wanted to be like Angelina Jolie. Like I was ready for like carpets and stuff. And then in high school, I was like the little lead of the school play in grade 12. So like, you know, I had my moment. I like had my solo bow and everything.
Okay.
Yeah, you know.
It's not bad.
And then, you know, like family pressure and whatnot. Like, oh, is acting really going to be the thing for you?
Yeah.
And I was like, you know what? What else do I love to do? Oh, I love law. So... funny story. When I applied to criminology at York University.
Yeah.
And I pressed the wrong button.
on the application?
On the application. So all of a sudden, here I am getting salut, comment ça va in French. I applied to sociology in French at the Glendon campus.
Okay.
So I'm like, oh, all right. So my mom who speaks French, I was like, Mom, what is this? She's like, oh, good for you. I'm like, I pressed the wrong button. This was not meant to happen. So I did that for a year.
Wait, so you stuck with it?
Oh, I stuck with it. I loved it because the Glendon campus was so much smaller.
Yeah.
And you weren't just a number. They actually knew who you are and whatnot.
Okay. Yeah, I've been there before. It's like it's almost like a high school kind of place,
oh my God,
right?
it's so
like
sick and it's new campus, and it looks like bougie as hell.
Wait, so you were applying to criminology?
Yeah, for York, for the Keele campus. I was ready to, you know, be a lawyer.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden, next thing I know, I'm like packing my bags.
Oh, man.
And then I was all for it. And then my mom, it's so funny because she would like, you know, be the mom, be like, yeah, my daughter's in, you know, university. And then she'd be like, and I really wanted her to, you know, expand on her French. So, you know, I made her apply for the French immersion. I'm like, Mom, like you and I both know that was a mistake. Like I have no idea what I got myself into.
So why'd you stick to it though? Like why didn't you?
Because I don't know, it was fun. The classes were small.
Oh, okay.
It was I was learning French, and then my mom, she would like, I don't know if I should say this, but my mom would like help me with my homework.
Yeah,
like, my assignments at home.
That's what the parents are for.
And like she would like, you know, like do it for me. And then when I would get to class, my teacher would be like, so Serena, I'm concerned. You're getting like 60s in class, but like 90s at home. I'm like, I don't know what to tell you. Like, I just study better at home.
So how did you complete? So you're done now, right?
Mm-hmm. Well, I switched over. So I didn't finish the program because like at the end of the day, I had to realize I was like, 17, 18. Yeah. I realized it wasn't for me. I had a boyfriend. I had, you know, a life to live.
Yeah.
So I just like, I'm going to stop this. I'm going to go back to school. And that was one thing my friends always tell me. They're like, you know, for 4 years, you kept saying you're going to go back to school, going to go back to school. And I was like, I wasn't ready to go back. I wanted to get this, whatever it was, out of my system. If that was partying, if that was, you know, trying to figure out what I wanted to do as like a career. And then finally, 2 years ago, because I used to always procrastinate, like, okay, you're 17, you're 18, you have time. And then when I turned 22, I'm like, oh, shit. And it takes 4 years to complete a program? Crap. And I knew I always wanted to go into law. So I thought, what's something I can do that will help me get to the next step to become a lawyer? So that was a paralegal.
What intrigued you, like, for this profession? Like, what was it that was like the it factor?
Yeah. So I think I was, when the Trayvon Martin case came out, I was so shocked that a Latino man, and I'm half Arab, half Spanish for people who don't know. So I saw a Latino man murder an innocent black child who went to go get Skittles across the street. And I think I was probably like 14 when that came out. And I was like, wait, what? And I don't know what happened, but I thought from this day forward, I want to be a part of this movement because he got off scot-free.
Wow.
All his charges were neglected. So I was
Wow.
like, the justice system is effed up. Even though it's only in America, I mean, we're neighbors. Canada's not, with everything going on now, Canada's no saint either. So,
Yes, it's not much better.
oh, definitely. So I saw that and I was like, yeah, no, I definitely want to be a part of this. I don't know how. I wanted to be a criminal justice lawyer. I wanted to do all that. But to be a criminal justice lawyer, you have to have the stomach and the mindset to be ready to see things. It's not just murder and this. There's rape, abduction. There's so much stuff, and you have to be mentally prepared for that. So as I'm older, and I'm doing my paralegal, and I'm like, wait, contracts and employment actually sound pretty good.
Yeah.
So I think I want to go into that, but that was just a good start for me to get into law, to be interested in it. And I've always wanted to be that person that kind of knew their rights.
Yeah.
And if they get stopped by a cop, I kind of know what to say.
Do you feel like that you are ready? Like you say you have to have like the stomach or like the mental capacity basically.
Nobody's ever ready.
Yeah.
I mean, I could say I am, and then tomorrow something can knock on my door and we have a lot of in class we have a lot of activities and scenarios where we pretend to be a lawyer and our teacher would give us a case.
Yeah.
So there was one case that we had where it was a Jehovah's Witness woman who was getting a blood transfusion after a car accident, but because due to her religion,
they can't
get that. So she was in a coma. She had nobody next of kin.
Yeah.
So it was up to the onus of the doctors to determine to save her life or not. So they did it. They gave her a blood transfusion because nobody was talking. Like I forget what the story was, but she couldn't represent herself, or no family members could. So they gave it to her, and then when she woke up, because she survived, she sued the hospital and the doctors because she's like, you just went against my religion, everything I believed in, because she had a card in her purse that said, no matter what happens, I am a Jehovah's Witness, therefore do not give me a blood transfusion. So we had half the class represent the hospital, half the class represent her. I was representing her, and I was just saying if people can't represent your needs, especially with a written document, but then their case was really it's the doctor's responsibility. At the end of the day, they're saving a life.
Yeah,
tough. So it's so
tough.
complicated. So that was a lot of fun.
And is there a winner and a loser?
Yeah, there's a winner and then a teacher. We get Timbits, but because it's virtual, he just sends us a picture
of the Timbit. What the hell?
He's so like, here you go, and I'm like, oh my god, my favorite.
That's so bad.
So funny.
Yeah. So wait, did you win the case?
I did win.
Nice,
right
nice,
on.
Nice.
That was good.
What was it? What were the key arguments that I guess helped win?
So it was.
You guys have a jury, or just
he just our teacher, and he just kind of determines. Oh wait, no, the rest of the class here, and then they vote. Whoever the vote class, the rest of the classmates vote.
Yeah.
So it's not. It's like 4 classmates each team.
Mm-hmm.
I was just saying. Don't quote me. I think Section 3 of the Charter of Rights and Freedoms is the right to life.
Yeah.
So it's the right to. Oh my God, I don't know if that's right. I think it is. I think it's the right to belief and things like that. So I was just slapping that on there, like how dare you? Because I was like, what if this was a Muslim woman?
Dare you say
what if how dare you? I mean, it's a complicated situation. It is, and total respect to the doctors. True. I mean, and it was a real case. It actually happened.
Yeah.
So. I mean,
that's a tough case, actually. It's pretty intriguing. It's interesting.
And they were saying that the paramedics didn't check the purse and they didn't find it, but it's on file, and it was very complicated. So I was just saying,
But do you have the time to be checking people's purses?
That was one of the things. Someone's dying. We're taking to the hospital. I don't need to know if her keys and mints are in her purse.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, it's tough.
But I forget why the next of kin couldn't. I think the next of kin did say we say that she can't.
So weren't they happy that
No, they were not happy
because
because they're going against the religion. She's quote unquote I'm gonna burn she's
because of the blood transfusion.
Yeah, because you can't have that. So that's very complicated.
Yeah, that's pretty interesting because I mentioned to you that I'm Christian, that I'm Christian, and we do believe in the blood. It's important and stuff, but nothing and it's not bashing any other religion or whatever. It's more we do believe that there's life in blood. But there is, right? Our DNA and stuff.
Absolutely.
But obviously, there's no fear in getting a blood transfusion or anything, right? So everybody has their different beliefs, and it's interesting to understand it's interesting to understand all that, like, and how that can affect your life, right?
Well, that's the thing. You never think, oh, how can a religion and a personal preference affect law, right?
Yeah.
Because I was like, well, what does this have to do with law? Oh, they went against her beliefs, her rights as a human, a citizen.
Yeah.
And that's how it affects legally. So that was really, really interesting. We had a whole bunch of other cases. I can't remember, obviously, in the moment.
Yeah.
But
I feel like we should have every episode, or if you come back, like have one case.
Okay, so we dig into it,
right? And I think people love. This is why like murder mysteries and all those things are so
popular. You'll be the next BuzzFeed Unsolved. Let me tell you. Yeah, I know, and I love missing cases, and I love such a hobby. It's so great.
And I think we all have that like
curiosity
where we want to be like detectives. And stuff like that, right? Like we want to try to solve that.
Most of the time, I'm wrong, but and I'm like, it's a good thing I'm going into contracts.
Yeah, no, it's so. Especially for like lawyers, right? It's so intriguing how like you have to really analyze the case, and
you really do. And that's the thing too that I'm learning, that even if your client is wrong, you got a job to do, and you got to represent. And that's another thing I learned was just you don't ask them if you're defending them and they're like, oh, I'm gonna be honest, like don't tell me, like honestly, like I'm representing you, like don't tell me because I need to to fix this thing. I mean, every lawyer's different. Maybe they do.
Yeah, because I was about to tell you like a quick story. My mom, she got into this this issue with this lady. It was like the most unfair, unjust thing in the world, right? This lady, she was like, arguing with my mom, and my mom, I was there, right? They were arguing. She got into my mom's face, and my mom got scared, so she pushed her. My mom's like 5 foot, like one, super weak, right? Like she pushed her. I saw, like it was on the shoulder. The lady started screaming, whatever. Like she went upstairs. My mom went back in her house. About like an hour later, the cops come, and they're saying how like my mom assaulted this lady, whatever, and showing pictures. And this lady had bruises on her neck, on her face, on her back.
So did she do this to herself?
So okay, so
I'm about to say, I know a little Latino women.
Yeah, no. So obviously I was like, I saw like she literally just like pushed her. She didn't even punch her. She pushed her like on her arm, right? This lady had like on her neck. Like,
no way.
So whatever. So she went on. She tried to sue my mom. She went on trial. Is this lawyer? He's actually popular. Ari Goldkind.
Okay.
Like he was on the news too. And he took my mom's case and barely even charged her. And he's like, I just want to know, did you do it, yes or no? He's like, I'll believe whatever you say. So my mom was like, no, like I didn't, right? So whatever, fast forward, like my mom suffered for that whole year. Like it was unjust, right? Like my mom didn't do anything. And then at the end, it looked like bleak, right? Because this lady had like pictures of herself and whatever. And it was her word against my mom. And this other lady that was our neighbor, she was friends with her. So she would say, yeah, I saw it too, and she wasn't even there.
Oh, what? But weren't you there? Can't you justify?
But because I was, I don't know. They said they didn't let me. I was, like 20?
What?
Yeah.
That's so valid.
I'm not sure why they didn't let me, especially like, but like the point is the lady, I think it's because I was family. Do they not like take that into account?
No, but the fact that a woman lied, saying she was even there. I mean, like, how did they ask?
Yeah, because she was with her, but she wasn't there when it happened. But she was with her during like before, right? So take this in. So this lady, on the last day of the trial, right? On the last day, she went up to my mom. She's like, it's like I am a God-fearing woman, so I want to say the truth. And she started telling my mom that her son, that she went upstairs right after it happened. She started punching herself. And she made her son take pictures.
Wait. Did your mom record this?
Yeah, no. So my mom's like, I don't believe anything you say until you talk to my lawyer.
Oh, beautiful.
And then she went and she told my mom's lawyer
beautiful.
everything.
Oh,
so
and
my mom's lawyer went in there. She's like, all right, roll up his sleeve. I wasn't there, right? Because like I was taking care of my brother and sister. I was taking care of them, and my dad, he's like Oscar, like I want him to stop. He's like, he took out a bunch of her like. How she was like abusive to her kids and like she's an alcoholic and this and she has like criminal charges here, and the lawyer like ripped her apart, plus the testimony of her friend. So it was perfect, right? But at the end of the day, my mom still suffered for a year.
Of course.
Right? And it's so crazy, but understanding how like that justice system works sometimes, it's so interesting, right? Like how this lady was about to win, because it looked bleak, right? Because my mom, there was no cameras, there was no nothing,
right?
And this lady had bruises
hearsay,
and pictures of her bruises, right?
Yeah, hearsay.
So it was interesting.
Wow, that's
kudos to my mom. Like my mom, she's a soldier, and I need to say this so people know, because I'm not trying to like boost my mom, but I need to boost people when they deserve it.
Oh yeah.
So about like a couple months later, we're waiting for my mom outside. We're gonna go like get ice cream, and I see this lady, the lady that like
dun, dun, dun.
she came, she was went up to my mom, and I was ready to like make sure nothing was gonna happen. So whatever, me and my
round
dad
two.
yeah, literally round 2. And I was like, yes, mom, like finish all this stuff. and then I'm not joking, like kudos to my mom. I love her. She next thing you know, she's like hugging her.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
She's
No
hugging
way.
her. Yeah. And then my mom was like,
Good
Mom.
soul right there.
Yeah, I'm like, Mom, why'd you do that, right? Because I wouldn't do something like that. And then she's like, no, I understood like that. Like this lady has more issues, and like her kids don't love her. Like they abandon her. Like she has so much issues. And I have you guys, right? So I'm like, yo, respect for that. And
wow,
I need to
so
like
deep.
like put that on blast, because
Absolutely
she deserves that, right? I could never. I don't
Credit
think
where
I could
it's
ever
due.
do that.
Well, this woman,
Yeah.
like, I mean, no matter, I know your mother suffered.
She's not right in the head. That she still lives in our building,
Yeah.
and she's not right because she's nice and everything, but I guess like
She's got to be a little bit sick in the head to start hurting herself.
Yeah.
Moments later, like you never know. That's another thing about mental illness. You know, like things can happen, and
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not saying your mom's story isn't important or anything, but like kudos to this woman for coming out to her and saying to her,
right?
like, hey, I just like low key ruined your life for a year, but I think I saw Jesus last night, so I'm gonna tell you straight up.
Yeah,
I mean, I
she
don't
grew
know.
a conscience overnight, I guess.
Good for her. And then she went to go tell the lawyer,
The
because
lawyer,
some people
yeah.
think just because you're telling the person, I hear a lot of stories like that where they're like, I'm so sorry, like this is not true, and they're like, this means nothing to me until they get a witness or you tell my lawyer, and that's when they get scared and they're like, oh wait, never mind, and they just walk away, and you're like, what, you just and she's like, nope, peace out.
Deuces, yeah, no, it's such an interesting story for me. It was one of like the biggest life lessons, right? I saw my mom suffer for it. She developed some kind of pain in her shoulder.
Wow.
Because of the stress and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's so crazy. Like it made me want to be a lawyer that like during that time, right?
Yep.
I think a lot of lawyers become lawyers because of stuff like that, right?
Yeah, that's the best. It's like people who suffer during their childhood and they become like a child youth worker, you know, like the best people to help people or who have the experiences for it.
Do you know that girl, it's a movie, but I think it's based on real life, that sister that like her brother was convicted and he was innocent, and then it's Hilary Swank, and she like becomes a lawyer. It takes her like
sounds good.
a couple years, and
Never
then she actually defends him. I think it's a true story. Yeah.
Wow.
That's a really good movie.
That sounds
because he was actually innocent, and she actually he was in jail that entire time that she became a lawyer and took his case.
No way.
He was like innocent the whole time.
That's sick.
Yeah, I forgot what it's called, but Hilary Swank is
Hilary
in
Swank.
it. Yeah, do you remember what happened to Hilary Swank?
Wait, who's Hilary Swank?
Damn, is it? She's from like
Hilary Swank. I'm just thinking of Hillary
do
Clinton.
you remember that movie Freedom Writers?
Yeah.
Yeah, her.
I would watch that stuff in like
The
grade
teacher.
6. Yeah, that was like the movie of the class.
Yeah, Freedom Writers.
Oh, the teacher.
The teacher, yeah.
Wait, that's the actress.
That's the actress. Yeah, Hilary Swank. Yeah.
Oh, okay, cool. Wow.
She hasn't been in a movie in a while, but
she's too busy fighting law, fighting crime. She's too busy.
Yeah, that's a really good movie, so I recommend everybody to watch. I
love that.
But yeah, like based on that, like, but what would you say are other factors? Like, what have you learned or what have you gained from like this field, or it's a part of your identity?
Yeah,
right?
yeah, for sure. I've gained to watch my mouth. It's a big one.
Yes, actually.
You know, because once I'm licensed, I can't be, doing things I did in my earlier years. I'm representing, especially if I get clients, I'm representing my clients.
Yeah.
And I mean, it's also, business too, like for me to make money and stuff. Yeah. People are going to see me and they're going to say, oh, wait, she's Adam Akubo. Like she looks like she knows what she's doing, or wow, this girl looks like she's hungover right now. Like, like it's that's the one thing I've learned too, is talking and being coherent and making sure that I am aware and I'm not being an immature little kid like I used to be. And I've also learned to seeing that there's 3 sides to every story.
Okay.
So there's his story, her story, and then the truth.
Yeah.
I never used to think like that. I used to always think, especially with like my friends, if they're like in a situation, I used to always believe my friends. Like if this girl did this or that, and I'd be like, "Who? Let's go talk to her." But now I'm like, okay, well, what did you do? Like, what did you say? Like, that's not fair. You can't, always.
I like that, yeah, because that's so true in anything, right?
Like, I'll always have my friends back at the end of the day, but like, we'll talk about it later. Like, I mean, if this girl's gonna try to fight you, like, what's up? But like at the same time, like, what did you say to her? Did you say something rude? Like, you can't be. We're not. You know, that's the one thing I learned too. We're not kids anymore. You can't pretend you can get away with stuff.
Yeah.
I have a friend that's still stuck at 17 and she's 24, and I'm like, I mean.
Yeah, I know people stuck at 60, stuck at 70.
Yeah, no, honestly.
Well, I think that's such an interesting thing where, like what you said, like there's the one side, the other side, and the truth, right? Because we're such biased individuals sometimes, and I think we're all guilty of that, right?
We're human.
So it's so, but when you start applying that in every single situation, you begin to see like
you're less
certain
stressed.
things. Yeah,
and you're less like, oh my god, look at this person. I have to believe them. You go, okay, well, hold on. You know, you're like a white dad at a dinner table. Well, let's we're gonna see what's going on here, kids, and you're gonna see.
White dad.
No, literally my uncle right now. Okay, well, let's everybody have their say. You know, before, and it's like as a lawyer too, I'm gonna have to really suck it up, and I want to hear their side of the story, even if it doesn't apply to me and it doesn't matter to me. I want to see what my client's about, even if it's not going to change my case or change how I do my work. I want to see what my client's about, to see what psychologically what they're going through. Maybe they're just bullshitting. Yeah. And let me hear their story. Let me see the evidence. Yeah. Evidence is such a big thing. Let me see the pictures. Let me see the recording. Let me see everything. I'm in a legal dispute right now against oh crap.
Can you say?
I probably wouldn't say it. Against an ex clothing store I used to work for.
Okay. Oh yes.
Yeah, I think I told you about that. I'm in it right now, so I don't think I can. I don't think my lawyer would mind, honestly. It's been going on for a year now.
Give them a call quick.
Hi, I'm
on this
hi,
podcast.
Can I just have your consent? Oh yeah, it's a lawyer in me. You're welcome.
Oh man.
But yeah, they literally, my manager let me go because I wasn't presentable. Like my hair, this is my hair. Okay, yeah. I'm Arab, I'm Latina, this is my hair. Yeah. I can't change it. I love to straighten my hair, I love to curl my hair, I love to play around with it, but at the end of the day, like, what do you want me to do? Yeah. So she let me go because she goes, your hair isn't professional looking enough. I was like, wow, wow, you have a lot of guts to say that right now.
But like, what does she mean by that? Just because it was curly?
Because it was curly, and it looks like, you know,
But what a
thing to say. No, that's the thing. Like, it's because I when I walked in and I applied, I looked exactly how I do right now, because this is how I look 99% of the time. Yeah. Okay, if I don't get my job because of how I look, I get it, and I don't really care because I'm not hired. So I went in there and I'm like, this is how I look, and she's Spanish too, and we're like, oh, you know, bonita, que linda, you know, we're doing our thing, and she loved me, and she would always kind of favorite me. I kind of noticed, and just because I'm Spanish, whatever. And then she went away for a couple months, and then like the supervisors will always make comments like, oh, we're having this person come, can you put some like blush or foundation on? And I'm like, I don't even own it. And they're like, well, maybe you can go get some. I'm like, okay. And then I'd come back to work and I would look how I do, because that's just how I am. Yeah. And I'm not one of those girls like, oh, I don't wear makeup. No, I would love to wear makeup. I just don't know what to do. I don't know what to buy. I don't know how it works. I'd rather get somebody to do it for me for special occasions. True. Because this is just, I don't mind whatever this is. True. So my manager, she comes back after like months of being gone, and she looks at me. She goes, "Did you look sick?" And I'm like, "Excuse me." She's like, "Are you sick?" I'm like, "No, I'm not sick." She goes, "You look like you just woke up." I'm like, "Well, I mean, how dare you?" I mean, I don't get it, but this is just how I look. And she goes, "Would you go on a date with the hottest guy in the world looking like this? Would you go on a date with your boyfriend looking like this?" I'm like, "Yeah, I do every day. What do you mean?" I'm like, "Yeah, I mean, this is how I got him." And then she's like, "Yeah, no, you don't look presentable. This is not the look for the company. You look like you should work a garage." That was a big one. And I'm like, geez. Wow. She goes, this is a high-end luxury brand. And I'm like, all right. So I went to the washroom. I called my girlfriend. I'm like, be honest, do I look like crap right now? She goes, you look like how you've been looking for your whole life. And I'm like, well, this manager, she goes, go talk to her and ask her what her problem is, because you're going to come to work again tomorrow and this is how you're going to look. So I went up to her and I'm like, what is your problem? What do I look? And she goes, she brings me to the mirror and she goes, look at yourself. Wait, you don't see what's wrong with you? If you can't see what I see, I'm going to have to let you go. And I'm like, okay, no problem. What in my head, I'm like, oh my God, lawsuit. This is great. And then she kept throwing in my face, if you're going to be a lawyer, Serena, you're going to have to look presentable. And I'm like, wow, for somebody who's talking about law right now, this is a big jump for you to discriminate me to my face.
Damn.
So yeah, that was a lot of fun. It's ongoing right now. Me and my lawyer are working together. My lawyer is the best. Shout out to her. Because I'm in my paralegal, she's like, I'm going to help you. You're going to learn from this. It's more of a learning experience, even if I get nothing out of it. Oh yeah, like I'm calling like the Human Rights Tribunal. I'm like saying my case number. Like it's like a little co-op for me.
No, so and I hope you win.
Thanks.
Totally deserve it because that's messed up.
Yeah, it was discriminatory against gender, sex, race. We had guys there, and they didn't have to wear makeup, and they made us wear our heels. Oh my God, I can't walk in heels that well. And we had like 8-hour shifts, and she'd be like, "I'm sorry," and I'm like, and we were allowed to switch. But if somebody like a CEO or somebody was coming in, they're like, "You have to be in these heels," and I'm like dying within 5 hours. I'm like, I have to switch. They're like, "We can't help you. But you have to wear it."
Did they show you some kind of like rules or guidelines where it says you have to wear?
Yeah, no, it's not legal. Even like in
because I know so many jobs are kind of like that. Like I know people that work in retail, and especially if you work like in makeup, obviously you have
no,
to,
like at
right?
Sephora, I know you have to have like certain amount of shades on your face.
Yeah,
but like that is because it's makeup. I'm selling clothing. I'm selling purses.
Yeah,
and she even said to me, "Your sales are great. You're never late. It's just how you look." And I was like, "Bingo! You just got me my ticket right there." And I was under my 3 months, and I was like, "Oh, this woman could have just said, 'Hey, Serena, it's just not working out. May I ask why?' I'm sorry, you're under your 3 months. We don't have to disclose that." Nope. She wanted me to let me know from my head to my toes. This, and I was like, "Oh, this is great." I like call my lawyer after. She's like, "Wow, what a," because she thought we were friends. So after she does her claim, I do my claim. She replies. She goes, "I thought me and Serena were friends. I could talk to her like that." Like she's low key admitting to it, and I'm like, no matter how like friendly we are with each other, I worked there for 3 months, and you were my manager at the end of the day. And you didn't say, "Hey, this outfit doesn't look good on you" or whatnot. You said, "You just don't look good enough for this company." So yeah, that was really
especially
fun.
what she said about like you look like people that work at garage.
Yeah, you should work at garage. This is a high end, and I'm like,
dissed everybody at garage.
Shout out to people in garage. I actually applied to garage and I did not get it. So
who cares?
I was not good enough for garage either.
Oh man.
But yeah, because it was a high end, it was an expensive store and stuff. So she thought, I don't know what she thought. And then at the back of the store, we have like this giant screen, and they always show like models, like Bella Hadid or whatever, like posing. And I'm like to my lawyer, she goes, "So what do you want out of this?" I'm like, "I don't even want money. I want a model and be at the back of that screen looking how I am every day." She comes into work, and there I am staring at her with my big ass curly hair and my sick looking face. And I'm going to be wearing whatever I want to wear. That would be the best justice. I'm going to say that my court order, if I go to trial or like mediation, I'll be like, "Listen, you don't have to give me a dime. I just want a model. I just want you to look at me every day."
That'd be the best.
Right?
Best.
And every girl has to wear their hair natural every day, once a week. Because there were just white girls there. There were some like Latino girls, but just white girls with straight hair, Asians, thin bodies, like, and I love that. I love that look. But like, this is diversity. Hello, 2021. What do you want from me? And my sales were up. That's why I took records of all my sales, because you really just attacked me for my looks.
I do want to know about this thing that you told me about getting kidnapped. I don't know why I'm sorry I'm laughing. It's just
no, it's honestly now it's been a couple of years. It's humorous because it's so idiotic. I feel so bad. No, I honestly don't. Like, I did this to myself.
Yes, but I'm pretty sure it's something like a lot of people would want to know. And like the experience and stuff. Like
right on.
How the hell it happened.
So I was 20 years old.
I'm not laughing. Like, getting kidnapped is a serious issue.
Yes, it's very serious.
And this may be a trigger warning for some people, so disclaimer out there. And I'm not discouraging people that have been kidnapped. It is the most effed up thing ever. Luckily, nothing happened to me. That was besides getting the kidnapped. But I got home safe that night, so it's a happy ending. So... okay, so I was like 20 and I was just single and I was dating strangers and I was like, meeting people and taking their numbers. "Hey, you want to go for dinner here?" "Sure." "Want to go for dinner there?" "Yeah, okay." And I would go for dinner. I would like bring my mom home some food sometimes. And she'd be like, "Oh, nice. You went for pizza? With who?" I'm like, "I don't know." Like, his name's John, I think. So I did that for a week. And then I remember it was a Friday and I wasn't going to do anything. It was around 7:00 and I get a message from this guy. I think it was Instagram. And he was just like this white guy, whatever. And we were talking and he's like, "Oh, I want to take you out for dinner." And I'm like, "Yeah, right on, let's do it." come get me. He's like, cool. So I give him the address to my park. Never give your actual address. Okay, good for me for thinking like that. Always give the park or, the Esso gas station and just do the walk. It's worth it. So he picks me up and next thing I know, he's like, oh, we're going to go to this restaurant. I lived in Vaughan at the time, okay? And he picked me up. And I made sure we talked on the phone beforehand because I don't know what it is, but I think talking on the phone makes them safer. I don't know what I was thinking, not knowing them for more than 24 hours. So we talk on the phone. He seemed like a cool guy, normal guy. He picks me up. All of a sudden, we're driving and time's going by. And I'm like, I've seen like 5 restaurants so far. Time's going by and we end up in Barrie from Vaughan. And we go to this restaurant. I forget the name. And he doesn't order anything. He's just watching me eat. And I get like, I'm like, oh, this guy's paying for it. Okay, so steak, glass of wine. I'm doing my thing. It's Friday.
Steak, glass of wine.
He's just watching me.
It's like he didn't order anything.
Nothing. He's like, I'm not hungry. I'm like, why'd you ask for dinner? I wanted to ask to get some ice cream. But I'm like, okay, whatever. And he's just looking at me like, wow, you're going to be a great mother one day. And I'm just like eating my little salad. I'm like, what?
Wait, he said?
Yeah, he just said that. And he's like, you're going to be a great wife one day. Wow, you're beautiful. And I'm like, okay. I'm like, this is messed up. So this is where it got kind of uncomfortable. Yeah, and I'm like, I'm in Barrie right now. I'm like, hey, I'm just going to tell him that I have to go home. So I'm like, okay, well, this is really nice. Thanks for everything. Let's call him Michael. And I was like, thanks so much, Michael. Don't remember his name, actually. Thanks so much, Michael. I need to go home now. And he goes, okay. And we get into his car. And I know I know when we're entering, Newmarket, Richmond Hill, I can get that, but we're just in a forest. We're just driving in trees. And I'm like, what the So I'm like, hey, Michael, where are we? And he's like, yeah, you're not going home right now. And I'm like, and it's probably 9:30, 10 o'clock. We're not going home right now. And I'm like, what?
Oh,
I'm like,
no.
Oh, my heart dropped out of my chest. And I'm like, oh my God, what? I thought he had to do something. He goes, no, you're not going home right now. I'm going to take you. I'm in the military. I remember he telling me that he was in the military. I'm taking to my base camp in Barrie. I'm like, what the fuck? I'm like, why? He goes, just shut up. Like, you're going there with me. And I'm like, all right. Oh. Time's go. And he's like trying to hold my hand and cuddle with me. And I'm like, at first I was like, okay, whatever. I don't really care. But now I'm like, I'm so scared. So the sun's going down. We're like in like trees and forests, whatever. And then we end up in this, I don't know if anybody knows the base camp in Barrie, but there's an army base camp there and it's deep. Like I have no service, nothing. Oh. And we're in there and he pulls up in there and he's like, and I'm like, okay, what the F is this? Get me out of this car. Like I need to go. And he's just so calm. There's like psychotic. He's like, yeah, you're not going anywhere. And you can scream as loud as you want and nobody would hear you. Oh. And in the military here, we're brothers and we cover each other up. We protect each other. So it doesn't matter what you do. So I'm like, getting my little house keys in between my fist. And he's a big guy. I'm like, I'm done. And I'm like I said, I have a mouth. So I'm like, oh, F you. Like, take me home. This is messed up. And he's like, well, where are you going to go? Like, you have no idea where we are. You have no service on your phone. I'm like, oh, shit, he's right.
Wow.
And he goes, okay, come with me in my room. I'm like, all right. So we come with him in his room. And I remember there's all these dorms. And we're going up the stairs. And we go in this dorm. And there's 2 beds. And he's like trying to, like have whatever with me. Yeah. Trying to be intimate with me. And I'm like, don't touch me. And he's a big guy. He's like, what the F? And he's like, I can knock you out so hard right now. You won't even wake up tomorrow. Man. And I'm like, and there's like bars on the window. And I'm like,
there's nobody around? Like,
no, there was no. He had a roommate, but he wasn't there. And he like tries to like undress himself. And I just like straight up lie. I'm like, I'd have something with me. Like I have like a disease. Like, sorry. Like I just think of something. I'm like, I have herpes. Like, I'm just like, I'm not going to touch you. I have something wrong with me. And he's like, thank God for that. He's like, oh, ew. He's like, oh, ew, no, don't touch me. And I'm like, all right. Saving grace. I had to think of something. I had nothing else to go for.
He believed you.
He definitely believed me. And I'm like, yeah, I have, he's like, well, like an STD. I'm like, yeah, something like that. Like, so, and he's like, oh, and I was like, oh, quick, good thinking. And, yeah, it was the first thing that came to my head. And then he was kind of like,
it was the best thing that came into your head too.
Right? Because I didn't really know what to say. He asked me what it was. I'm like, it's personal, but like, let me tell you, it's fatal. And he's like, oh. So he's kind of like Uno reverse card. I'm like, trying to do my thing. And he's like, I have to go meet my sergeant, so come with me. And I'm like, okay. So I'm just like in this base camp. It's probably like 11:30, 12 o'clock. I'm like walking. I see the sergeant, and he just like looks at me. And he told me, we're brothers here. You can't scream or cry. They won't protect you. And I'm like, I can't do anything. The sergeant's going to just tell him, like, shut her up. I don't know what he's going to say. Not degrading anybody in the army. I don't know if this is true or not. You know, maybe it's not true, but this is what this guy told me. And they're just looking back at me, and I'm like, oh my God, what are they planning? So we go back into his room, and then I'm like, I need to go home. He's like, you're not going home. Like, you're going to stay here. And I'm like, I'm not staying here. So I was trying to remember how he was acting, and then I was like, hey, I'm going to try something. So I'm like, babe, you know, I have to go home. My mom's waiting for me, but I'll see you tomorrow. Snap. He's like, oh my God, really? Like, he like went psycho to like concerned. He was like, oh my God, like, are you okay? And I'm like, yeah, my mom, she just knows I'm out tonight and I have to go home. Like, I'm really sorry, but I do care for you. He's like, are you falling in love with me? And I'm like, yes. And he's like, oh my God, okay, baby, like, no worries, let's go to my car. We get into his car. He's like, yeah, I just wanted you to love me. That's all I wanted, was for you to care for me. And I'm like, jeez. So far I'm on the right track, though. He's gonna take me home. I'm like, oh my God, I loved you the second I saw you. He was so happy. So he's like, okay, I'll take you home. So we're driving home. We're on the highway, and he's trying to hold my hand, but I'm still creeped out. So I pull my hand away, and he just pulls over on the side of the highway. He's like, get the F out of my car if you're not going to hold my hand. So I'm like, okay, give me your hands. No worries. And he takes me home, takes me to that park, and he's like, okay, I love you. I'll see you tomorrow, right? I'm like, absolutely, you'll see me tomorrow. So I get out of the car. I'm like walking. The second I get in my house, I like close the door. I'm like bursting in tears to my mom. She's like, where were you been? You were just like at dinner at 7:30. We like open our blinds. We see him circling around. Really, really messed up. So yeah. And then so that's the thing. I was 20. I was scared. I didn't know if this guy was like a legit stalker. I should have done more, but this is what I did. So I had a friend who was like a catfish king. Okay. And he was catfishing people. And we were afraid he was going to keep following me. So he pretended to be this underage girl and talked to him. And that's it. This Michael guy forgot about me the second he found this young girl. And we made him drive like downtown to Barrie to go to like a bowling alley like 5 times in a week. And then we sent him like a naked picture or something of like a girl. She was overage, but we said she was underage, right? Or she was 16, 14, whatever. And this Michael guy like was like loving it. He knew. We like took screenshots knowing that he was that she was underage. Yeah. And we sent it to like the army camp of like Ontario, whatever. Like we found like the email, like we kind of like talked to them for a bit, and we just sent it over. We got no response back. We were just saying, I hope you know this guy is talking to underage girls, blah blah blah. Yeah. We got no response back, but then like we checked his Facebook 3 months later, and it's like got kicked out of the army.
Oh. And like he never found out, like. No,
I don't think her name was, I don't know. I don't know if he connected it. He forgot about me though the second that he found the love of his life, this underage girl. And
that's so messed up.
So yeah.
It's so messed up. Like this guy shouldn't be in the streets.
No, that's the thing. I felt so bad because my mom was like, you know, you can go to the cops because like he's not done, you know, like he'll do it tomorrow. Maybe he did it yesterday. Maybe. And all it takes is one voice to stand out. But I was so scared that if he were to find about me, and I regret it to this day, like that what I did wasn't enough. But I know he had to get deported. If you were scared,
like he had to go back. Look out for yourself too, right?
I know, but like, you know, trying to be a lawyer, like I have to represent, I have to find this guy. So he got deported though. He wasn't a Canadian citizen. So I know, because I know he was here for the military, and then he told me if anything happens, he gets deported. And I'm like, oh, okay, good to know. Mental note. So yeah, that was my story. And I did not get chained in a basement or anything, thank God. But he did tell me, like, you can scream and there's nobody's going to give it. I can knock you out till tomorrow. I remember that. And I remember having
the creepiest thing is also the guy that you said was like the sergeant.
Yeah, they were just looking at me, and I don't know what he told him, right? He could have just, that's my girlfriend or blah, blah, blah. Yeah. But I looked scared though. Like I definitely had tears in my eyes, and I don't know if he can see me in the car, but I wanted to like scream and run to this guy. Like he's a sergeant. I remember he like did like the little hand movements and stuff, and and I was like, I don't know what to do. And then I went on Clubhouse. Do you know the app Clubhouse?
Yeah.
I went on it and I told a story, and the guy who was hosting it was actually in the military, and he told me like that is not true. There's no brother arms in the military. Like if there's a girl in distress or a girl in trouble, they you know, and I believe that now, but at the time, like you never know.
It must have been like the same kind of group of people. I don't know. It must have been.
Never know. I don't know if maybe the guy, his roommate, did it a week ago, you know, and they're like, you know, have my back. Oh, we've seen this before. Have my back. They all live in a dorm. Yeah. There's a bunch of rooms. I didn't see anybody else though, and his roommate was gone. So,
but he's definitely not well, because the fact that you told him,
like, I love you,
babe, and stuff, like,
yeah, and he was like, "Oh, I was waiting for this. Like, I was just wanting you to love me," and I'm like, "Oh, okay."
And this is the first time you met him,
yeah,
right?
I was literally within like 4 hours. There was love, betrayal, friendship. There was all that.
Was he Latino?
He was white.
Oh, okay.
He was not Latino. He was a white guy.
Oh my god, it's such a Latino thing to do.
6'4". Literally, his fist was the size of my head.
Oh, man.
I was done. Yeah, I was like, this is it. I was so scared. But yeah, so it was a happy ending. Got home. I definitely have PTSD from it. And ever since then, I need to know the guy 2 days before meeting them. I talk to them on the phone. Like, I FaceTime them even. Like, I need to know things about you. Follow your Instagram. If a guy doesn't have, like, Instagram or Snapchat or any social media, which people do, it's just, like a psychological red flag for me. I'm like, if you don't have anything, like, you're in your 20s, like, why? And they have to give me a legit reason. And then, because even if they are real and not a catfish, they can still be crazy.
Yeah. Yeah, it's true.
You know? All
that applies to even, like, I'm a big... you know Kijiji, like, and Facebook Marketplace. I don't know. I just I'm a big like seller and buyer on that stuff, right? And a lot of my friends would always tell me, "Yo, like, sell for me," because they're too scared to do it. Because it's the same kind of like thing, right? Like, as like online dating, I guess, and stuff, where you don't know who you're meeting up with, right? And you have to meet up like at a mall entrance or the gas station and stuff. And like I
said mall insurance, mall entrance.
Sorry. So so far, I've been doing it since like the last like 10 years. So far, I've never had like something bad happen. But I'm also smart. Where like it's what you're trying to say, right? Like, what you learn from all the mistakes you make. Because there's been times where like the guy like has tried to like scam, but I've never really been scammed. But like, it's always like getting to know them, making sure like if they have Facebook, especially. You check their Facebook page.
Yeah, just like one photo.
Or like an interaction
like
with somebody else.
Or something. Zoomed in on it.
Yeah, because you never know, right? And there's people that are like, especially when you're younger, you're not like, you don't think the world is such a bad place. Mm-hmm. And it's something that we were talking about earlier, where like that mentality when we're younger, like we're still kind of like innocent, naive, right? So it's interesting, and that's how we deal with love, with loss, and stuff like that, right? But I always recommend people to always make sure to take somebody with you, or what you do, right? Like, get to know them before, or check their Instagram or their Facebook, because then it's like a red
definitely
flag, right?
Or even like asking them about their life and stuff and see what they're about.
Yeah,
because they could, you know, I know some people get sketched out about that too. Like, oh, you're asking so many questions, and I'm like, man, like you have no idea what some people have gone through. Like, it's just a precaution.
Yeah. And I feel bad. Like, I'm not trying to score any points, but like usually with girls, I feel bad. Like, you guys have to be so careful. Right? Because guys are. I said this before in other episodes where we're talking about like online dating and stuff. Guys are like super creepy, and I'm a dude, and I know a bunch of guys and stuff, and creepy, and I can imagine like the ones who are unhinged. Wow.
Yesterday I was at the gas station. I was getting some beef jerky, and.
Beef jerky.
I love beef jerky.
Yeah, I love beef jerky too.
No, like that's hot flavor. Anyways, I was walking in there, and there was this guy just sitting on the corner, and he's just checking me out. Like, I get it. I'm like wearing like a Tim Hortons shirt though. Like, I don't know what he was doing. So I'm just like walking, getting my beef jerky, and I come
Tim
out.
Hortons shirt?
Yeah. My uncle owns some Tim Hortons locations.
Okay.
So my mom and I worked there for a couple of years, and every year I get that Tim Hortons shirt. It's a pajama top. I have left these Tim Hortons shirts all over the country. It's so strange, but I literally, every time I sleep over at someone's house, or like I went to Dominican Republic, I left like 3 shirts there. You know, it's like a signature move of mine. I have too many of them. So if you want a Tim Hortons shirt, got you. Different colors, you know, got the roast beef one, the dark roast.
Dark roast.
Smile cookies, my favorite. Oh man. Yeah, so I just leave them anywhere. So they're my pajama top.
Yeah.
And I remember this one guy, it was my ex-boyfriend, he's like, you know, this is not flattering for a girl to go to sleep in. Like, this is your pajamas? I was like, yeah. Like, I'm not. excuse me, this looks good. It's a smile cookie. So I was at the gas station wearing my little smile cookie, and this guy's just checking whatever, and I come out and he goes, hey, and I go, yeah. He's like, will you be my girlfriend? Definitely something wrong with him, and I'm like, okay, and I just keep walking because it's just so funny. But like,
yeah, like I'm not even playing dumb. Like
so
anybody who knows me, like those who are listening that know me, like they know I'm a really shy guy. I'm so shy, right? But it's so that's why like I'm not talking like where like I'm pretending where I don't do this, but I actually don't do stuff like that, right? But it's so funny because when I've worked in retail or with other girls, it's so funny seeing guys hit on that. Like the funniest one with this guy, I used to work at McDonald's in high school, and this guy, my manager, like I guess she was like a pretty girl, whatever. And this guy comes up to her, he's like, "Hey, I just want to tell you, like, you have an amazing body. Like, I love your body."
Right on.
Like, I'm like,
Nice.
what? I could never do something like that.
Really?
And it's so funny because she's like, oh, she started like giggling, whatever, right? He turned like he leaves, and then like she looks at me, he's like, that guy's such a creep. I'm like, what?
Wait, you're the creep?
No, like the guy that said that to her. But like, I'm like, I don't get it. Like you were like blushing and stuff. Like you're giving the guy signals that like you're accepting the compliment, and it's like, yeah, like he's a creep though. I'm like,
some girls get like they choke up. Like it's flattering to an extent. Sure,
Yeah.
every girl wants to be called pretty. Sure,
Yeah,
every
so
girl loves to hear, "Oh,
guys
you look
too,
good."
you wanna be
But
called-
yeah, sure. But like when they like, sometimes it's in their eyes.
You know what? That's actually a good point. No,
Man,
it's
you
serious.
can see intention from their
Yeah.
eyes, like the body language that doesn't lie. A guy can tell
And
me
it's
I'm
not
gorgeous,
even,
but
it's not even like a myth. Like I had a friend that like people would tell him, and I didn't see it till the end because we're not friends anymore. But like he would have a look that like people would be like, "Yo, you like rape people with your eyes."
yeah,
And I never knew that. Like I never
a real
thought about
thing.
that. And so like I paid attention, and he like I'm a dude, and we were like brothers, and I felt like
you got raped by his
No,
eyes.
yeah, like basically,
you were
yeah.
assaulted.
Like I felt like I was being like, you know, not raped, but like, you know, like
yeah,
right?
it's a real thing.
Yeah,
I-
it's crazy.
It's
It's
I
so-
couldn't see it for like the past like couple of years of my life. I just got LASIK surgery. Shout out to LASIK. I got it. I got it in May. Best decision of my life. That could be another episode. But I got LASIK, and I would refuse to wear glasses.
Yeah.
I hated it. I would only wear it for school, and I would just always squint like this all the time. And my eyebrows, actually, my bone structure has come down from going like this so much squinting. It's actually a real thing.
You can
And
change your whole
yeah, I
structure.
changed my whole life and my whole structure. And like I remember like in the hallways, like I would be squinting, and then like people would be like, "What are you looking at?" And I'm like, "Nothing. Like I'm just trying to walk." So like I never, every time guys checked me out and stuff, like I always have a dirty look on my face because I can't see. So I'm like, I'd rather take precautions.
Hey, better safe than sorry, guys.
Unless they're hot and I regret it later. And I go put my glasses on from a distance. I'm like, oh crap. The majority of them are just, yeah. Even at Tim Hortons, when I worked at Tim Hortons, savages. I'm telling you, they would not leave me alone, especially the construction workers. I'm not trying to, but oh my god.
I mean, they hang around with dudes all day. You gotta have some.
Yeah,
fun,
they're
right?
like, oh, that girl, you look so hot. I have like a little hairnet on. I'm like, I don't know what you're seeing. I have like donut spills on my shirt. And I'm like, right on. And I'm like blushing. I told him about my ex-boyfriend. He was a customer.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and the guy before him was a customer too. It just Tim Hortons is the place to be. My friend, he says to me, he goes,
Oh,
"Are you dating again?" I go, "Yeah." He goes, "What'd you do? Get another job at Tim Hortons?" I'm like, you'd be shocked.
It's better than Tinder, I guess, for you.
It's just a little bit more face to face.
Face to face. That's crazy. Yeah,
Serena,
no, I'm not the type of guy to ever like tell some girl at a counter. I'm too shy for that. So
Why?
kudos to those guys. They're brave. I don't know.
I'm really upfront though. I'm like to these guys. I'm like, so you've been coming here. You come to my line. There's like 2 other cashiers, and you haven't asked me out yet. And they're like, I just want chili. I'm like, that's not good enough.
Oh man.
I know your order off by heart.
You're so Latina. That's such a Latina thing to do. Yeah, no, because it's so straightforward like that. But
Yeah, I don't have time. No tengo tiempo para perder, okay? I don't have time to waste. I have customers to serve, and I remember I used to get blushy when they come in. We're literally wearing a hairnet. Like, I don't know. I mean, it worked. So,
hey,
boom.
if it ain't broke, don't fix it, I guess. I don't know. There's so many things to talk about. still. But
So
we're gonna
funny.
have you back on. Definitely.
Absolutely.
There's a bunch of things that I know you want to share and
This was
stuff.
so funny.
But thank you
It's
so much
great.
for coming.
Thanks
and
everyone for listening.
Yes.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, so that's a wrap for today's episode. Remember, follow us on our social media channels. Actually, if you want to give your...
For sure. So my Twitter and my Instagram are Serena L Hakim, and my TikTok is Booba3. So
My TikTok. Nobody's ever plugged their TikTok.
I have
before.
one
That's
TikTok,
amazing.
and it's
Hey,
my nephew.
TikTok's
I'm
good,
just
though.
joking. Don't follow my TikTok.
Okay. So again, thank you. Remember that chaos is unavoidable, but we're here to shine some light on the craziness of the world, and catch you guys on